Hello, Blazor fans. Welcome back to another Blazor Power Hour. This month, we've been experimenting with the Quest 3 using Blazor Hybrid so far. We're going to play around a little bit more with Blazor Hybrid today, see if that we can get some of the APIs working for maybe like file access, camera access, that type of thing. See how that plays with the Quest. I'll be honest, I have not tried it. I don't know if any of this stuff works, and that's part of the fun. Now, there are other ways of deploying apps to the Quest. We will get into that later this month. We're going to try to use some PWAs eventually. For that, we'll need to download and learn about the Quest's Meta CLI. I don't have that installed yet, but we'll deal with that at a later date. Today, we'll try out some of the Maui APIs that let us get into some hardware access stuff. So, this is the device I'm using, Quest 3. Went over it a couple shows ago in great detail, but if you do have any questions about it or what we're doing, feel free to ask, and I'll try to get over to chat and see if I can answer those questions for you. This is a new space to kind of deal with, so things aren't the usual development that you might be used to. Let's kick things off with a new project. And then I also have things up and running already. If you see this camera view here, this is actually a live feed out of the Quest using its casting feature. You might even see in the couch over there across the room from me a furry friend that has joined us. She's kind of snoozing, I think, so she might pop up from time to time. You'll see her in the background. But this is a live view from the Quest 3 headset that's sitting in front of me. First thing is, let's go ahead and fire up a brand new project again. And I'm going to jump into Visual Studio here. And there we go. Got that up on the screen. And let's do a new project. And we're going to use the Maui Blazor app template. We'll go ahead and fire up a new one. We'll call this one Quest API Tests, because we're just going to experiment. I think I threw a letter or number 4 on the end there. That was unintentional. This isn't the 4th time I've tried this. I wish it was. I'd feel a little more comfortable with the results. I don't know what's going to happen here. So we'll fire that up and we'll have a brand new project running. Now, we've got Visual Studio up and it is creating this brand new Maui project. It takes a couple seconds to spin this up. And you'll see up here at the top, it has Windows Machine as the deployment device. And if I could zoom in, might be able to see it just a little bit better. There we go. It says Windows Machine right here. So what we'll try to do is actually change this to a local device, and you can see I have over here my Quest 3, and this is the simplest way to get your app on the device. So this is a Maui project. It can compile to an APK. We'll deploy this directly to that device. We'll go ahead and spin it up. And it will take just a minute on that first build. And you'll see it pop up right here in the headset when it's ready. What's really cool about this is you can have like a virtual environment to work and be productive in. And these 2D apps inside of this augmented reality space need to dive into a 3D engine before you can really do anything immersive in the headset. So you're going to have to use something like Unity or a JavaScript based 3D library that is out there. And those kind of steer off the path of Blazor a little too far for the show. So we might revisit that later on. But for now, we're going to work with 2D or flat apps inside of the Quest. So we're still compiling here, and you can see it's got the device, it's found it, it's trying to deploy to it, and it looks like it's about done. And there's actual app coming up in the headset now. Let's see if I can get the app a little bit closer to the camera there. So I need to grab joysticks here real quick. And it's a little hard to do with the headset not directly on my head. I'm trying to learn a little bit of technique for kind of streaming with this thing. It's a different kind of streaming experience to have something on top of your head. There we go. Now let's see if I can get that pulled in just a little bit closer. Bear with me while I try to navigate this thing. That's about as close as it'll let me bring it. It looks pretty good from my point of view here. If you're watching on the stream, you might want to watch at a full zoomed in page there. But there is our app, Hello World. Doesn't really do a whole lot, but we do have the, let's see here, we do have the counter and the fetch data, and we can click on these things inside of that virtual environment. So there's our data. Everything seems to be working okay. And I'm using the joystick as a pointer device just because it's a little more accurate and easy to use, but this does do full hand tracking as well. We looked at this in detail on the previous show. Depending on the mode, there's like 2 modes that this screen works in, this virtual screen. One mode is kind of at a distance. It's called the distance view. And I may have actually zoomed my headset a little too far out now. I can't see my menus. But you can see it's got a little bit more depth to it. And then we can also switch back to like what I like to call the tablet mode. And this is a little more of a smaller UI, kind of like an operating system dashboard that's really close up and in a tablet shape. So it stays within the confines of this little square. So if I reach in with my controller here, you can see the tablet, the virtual tablet come up. And this has multiple windows as well. So you can do things like rearrange your windows. You can have multiple things going. I can have a browser placed alongside this. I can even remote into my desktop as well. And so you can see there's some multitasking capabilities even in this tablet mode. And I can zoom this out as well in distance mode and have 2 really great big screens to work on. So that is part of the capabilities that we want to go for. So we'll bring that back into the main panel there. You can only have 3 panes open in the Quest main operating systems UI. There are third-party apps like Immersed that let you have up to 5 screens open at one time, but that makes things a little bit harder for me to stream. So for now, we'll just use this environment here to tinker with. Another thing that we can do here for the show is we can try things out in the emulator before we jump into fully deploying it to the Quest device. Just kind of do a little quick check to make sure that it's a Quest problem, if a problem does exist, or it is just not good code. Because I am new to some of these APIs, haven't used them before, and they act differently from device to device. So we'll experiment with that as well. Until we're ready to really deploy this back onto the Quest, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing this screen, and I'm going to move it over to my main monitor where I don't have to look off camera all the time. I have to use 2 monitors, I found out, to get this to stream properly without you guys having kind of an awkward view. So I'll go ahead and move that over, and we'll share my other window now that has the dev environment on it. It might be a little more clean and easy to see on here, and we'll bring back the quest as we need it. So this is just the basic Hello World app, and you can see we've got our Blazor pages and components in this components folder, and this is all HTML and C# code to make this work. We've got the basic counter with some data binding, but what I want to do is actually tap into some of the hardware APIs now. So let's actually see how to do that. Again, I haven't actually done this on the with the Maui APIs. I've done this with web APIs. They're slightly different. Of course, they're in JavaScript when they're on the web, but that's what's nice about .NET Maui is it lets us do this type of thing with C# code. Let's see. Let's list file. List files in a directory using Maui. And I know I've done this actually before in a previous example. And there's some things that you have to understand about this cross-platform type of application development when you do it. Finding a file directory in cross-platform is different than what you might consider on the Windows desktop. There is no common location for files on these devices. So the Maui APIs try to normalize this through some extension methods and helper strings and things like that. So we'll probably run into that as well. And let's see if I can find, let's see, we have secure storage. They also have a concept of like a sandbox. And what will happen is we probably won't be able to read any files directly off the file system without actually writing some files first. So we'll have to experiment with that as well. And I'm not seeing the documentation I want. So I'm going to try jumping over to GitHub for a minute. I might actually have a project with some file system stuff. And then we'll try to go to some more things that I haven't tried before, like the camera and whatnot. Let's see if I can find my repo that has the file system stuff on it. Let's see here, repositories. I know I've got, it's not Blazor Hybrid single code base, I don't think. Well, let me try that actually. Let me see if it's in here first. Blazor shared UI, pages. See, is it under fetch data? No, this is just grabbing an HTTP request. I've got lots of Maui samples up here. Okay, we'll try just coding it up out of memory and then go searching for the APIs that we need. One of the things that we can do, since this is .NET, is we can import, we can say using system file, system IO, and then we can use that to scan for files. So let's replace this counter component with something that's going to fetch some files off the operating system. And I'll zoom in a little bit too, so you can probably see a little bit better. And we're going to have to do this. Let's do it on initialize. So we'll do a protected override on initialized async. Let it stub that out for us. And then on this, we need to do, I'm trying to remember. Let's just do generic .NET read files. or let's see, let's do a list files in directory. It's been a bit since I've actually done this. There it is, directory get files. And if we have a little example, we can just borrow it. And here's what we really need. So we need to start with a kind of a backing field here, and this is going to be files. So we have an empty array that we're going to populate, and then we can call system.io on it. We could say files equals directory get files. The target directory is where things are really going to be Maui specific. Let's see if we can find, they're passing that in here. So I need to kind of Google this one up. So .NET Maui file paths. Let's see if we can get the enumerator or whatever it is it uses. I know I've seen this here. File system helpers. There we go. This is probably it. We've got cache directory, app data directory. I'm thinking of is like the path for my documents. And there's an equivalent to that one. Let's see, this is the current executing. Who uses this font? Oh, where is this normalized file path? There it is. Good old Copilot got it for me. So this is the path. Let's see, special folder, my documents. I think that might be the one. So let's try that. So we need to set up the file path. Let's see, get folder path. And it's doing a combine on here. I'm going to take this off. We don't need to combine anything there. We just need the path like that, I believe. And it should find the whatever the equivalent to my documents is. Now, if we run this, let's try this, for example. We'll go to Windows machine here. If I run it on a Windows desktop, it literally will pull the my documents folder. Let's go ahead and comment this out for a minute and just see what we get with this. And we will write out the my documents path. Let's see, we need to move this up if we want to write it out. Or it's not being declared inside the method. And we will say my documents path here. And then when we run the application, again, I'm going to run it on my Windows machine. And it should pull back the full path for the My Documents folder on a Windows desktop, which is going to be different than what we get on the Quest and possibly an Android or an iOS device and so on. So I put that under my counter component, and you can see it did work. I do have my local user OneDrive documents. So actually, I was quite unaware that they automatically move that to OneDrive these days. So the My Documents folder is actually under that now. Shows you how much I pay attention to the actual path of things. But if I do this again, and I try to run it on an Android emulator, let's see what happens here. So this one might take another second to spin up because this is a brand new emulator with a new APK that it's compiling. So always expect that first run to be pretty slow whenever you're doing cross-platform and use emulators or just Android in general. The first compilation takes quite a bit. Depending on the speed of your machines, might take actually well. It's a fairly machine by today's standards, about 2 years old. It's a Core i9, pretty good amount of memory, and it still takes a good minute to get like the basic Hello World APK built up and deployed to the device. So using that as a benchmark, your mileage may vary. These things might be a little faster or slower depending on what you're working with. I know on my laptop it can be kind of cumbersome, but here we go. .NET is loaded up. We've got the logo. We got Hello World. So our app is working on Android. And you can see we've got a file path here that gets quite long. And you'll notice in here this very Java-centric path name. So I've got data user 0, the namespace of the app. So company name dot quest API tests files documents. So this is that sandboxed folder I was talking about. So everything is sandboxed in to this file location. So this is actually something we could try on the Quest now. We'll go ahead and stop this one, and we will jump over to local devices. And it is an Android device. I expect to see the exact same thing. That's my expectation. It is running the Android operating system. So chances are it's going to be identical. Things might get a little bit different when we start talking about getting cameras and whatnot. That's kind of an accessory. The device does have several cameras, but I think when you request a camera, I think it's going to come up with the file picker and then bring up its own UI for initializing the camera and taking a photo. I don't think you get direct access to the camera on the device in real time. I think that's actually an issue with Android as well. It's not just a Quest thing. So to get real-time access to the camera, I've never actually had to do it myself, but I am using an Android phone as a camera for the stream, and I know I have to be in developer mode to actually take advantage of that capability. So I'm imagining there's some sort of roadblocks involved when doing that. Let's see here. We've got the app is up and running on the Quest. Let's see if I can move this over to the main screen for now. There's our live view from the headset. And let's see if this is the new page. It needs to pick up my controller tracking. Give it a moment. There we go. And if I go over to counter, there we go. There's the file name right there, and it spans off the page. The exact same namespace or folder path, because again, it is an Android operating system. And this is streaming live from the headset to the cast device window inside of the developer tools for the Quest. So the quality on here is probably going to be less than if you're looking through the headset itself. It's actually a pretty nice view through the headset. The application's really easy to see. There's no real aliasing like you see here, and the fonts are nice and crisp. So it's a pretty decent environment as far as that's concerned. It is a little bit awkward to spend long hours like coding inside of, but it's not anything to do with the screen quality. It's more just something sitting on your face, the heaviness of it, that sort of thing. Getting a drink, doing normal human activities that you don't normally encounter when you have something on your face. That's kind of been the roadblock that I've run into. So we're able to get the folder path, and we should actually be able to read the files from that. So let's uncomment this here. So we'll get, with get files, we'll get an array of full names, including paths, for the files for the specified directory, or an empty array if no files are found. So let's give this a run again. We're not going to get anything. Well, first of all, we need to write something out here. So we need to bring in for each. So we'll bring in a for each loop here, and we'll say for item in files. Let's do a quick null check here just in case. String, oops, not string. If files is not null. If files is not null, then we'll for each. Oh, wrong key. And I just switched apps completely. Hang on a second. Good God. All right. I meant to hit Alt, hit Windows. The Windows key, as you know, minimizes and throws your windows all around. All right. So if files are not null, we'll for each over them, and we'll throw them into a list. So let's put that @ back, and we'll throw, again, this is web front end, so we can use things that we're familiar with if we're doing HTML and C# and JavaScript and CSS and all that good stuff. We'll throw this in a list item, and we'll say @item, and then it is a string of file name already. The problem here is we're going to get the full path name, and you'll see it's quite obnoxious, and we'll have to call a method on that to take the file name off of it. And I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but I'm sure we can figure it out. So we'll do this on the Windows desktop for, oh, I put it in an emulator. I meant to do it on the desktop where we actually have some files, because what we'll have to do next is actually write files to disk. And this might be a nice time to, let's see, can I cancel that build? Cancel that build. Might be a nice time to check and see if it actually gives us permission to write a file directly using system.io to the Quest. Is that a thing? Is that something we're allowed to do? It is, again, an Android device, so chances are it'll let us do it because it's in the sandbox of the application. So if we go to counter, there you see all the files in the My Documents folder. And again, it's the long version of that file name. I actually would probably want to take that path off of there. Let's do that real quick. There's a method we can call on this. I'm trying to remember what it is. Let's see what else is in this section. Good old Copilot here. Let's say, how do I remove the path from a file name in C#? So we've already got the files from there. Path.getFileName method. Yeah, I got that much. Copilot, thank you. Get file name, full path, but that is incorrect. Path, get file name. Oh, maybe it is right. Get folder path, get files. So, you know, maybe it is right. I'm wrong. File name system.io, get file name, full path. So we need to call get file name from system.io files.path. So path should be, let's see, we should be able to do path.get file name. And here I thought Copilot was wrong for a split second. Let's try running that again, and then we should be able to get the files, just the files, not that big long path on top of it. All right, so there's all the files on my Windows operating system. But again, there's nothing existing inside of any of the Android ones because they're sandbox and they're brand new. I just created an APK and installed them. So if I were to run this, we're just going to get an empty screen. It should just be a white screen. So we need to actually take and write a file to the operating system in order to read it back and see if it's there. File to disk in C#. Not C3, darn it. Stop. Oh, it was smart enough to know what it was. It fixed it for me. That's pretty brilliant. Uh-oh, connection was lost. Let's try that again. And while that's going, we'll jump back over and see what our emulator is doing. Oh, and we have an error. So trying to think what could possibly have caused that error, because if files is not null, then it shouldn't have gone this far. So we shouldn't be hitting a null reference exception. So what we can do here is if we want to see that error in Chrome, we need to actually open Chrome Developer Tools. I've already got it up in this tab, but to see inside of that window, we can say Chrome Inspect Devices, and in here should be, there's our Quest 3, here's our Pixel 6. This is the web view on the, there we go. So could not find part of file path. So it is hitting an exception here. So it did get past that null check, I guess. So the null check is, that's weird. Where is this hitting? So we're calling get files. It's coming back an empty array, I guess. And then it's for eaching over the empty array. It's not null. Let's see. Count as a method, not a property in that instance. Let's see if that does it. Is that what I'm missing in there? If it's an empty array, it's not a null array, but we're still trying to call a method against something that doesn't exist. No, that's not it. Could not find a part of the path. Something to do with path.get file name it does not like. So it is getting to here. Let's just try writing the item out temporarily and see what kind of response we get there, if we still get an exception or not. It worked fine on the Windows desktop. What do you know? We're getting an error here. So I'm pretty sure here there is nothing, there should not be anything in files. Let's go ahead and just write a quick test up here and say files.count. I probably should have commented that code out. That's likely causing the error because it's just going to error out anyway. Let's do that and rerun. And let's see if we get a count. We should not get a count. It should be empty. And we still get an exception. So the exception's being hit somewhere in here. I guess this is where it's throwing. So we're doing directory get files from the my documents path, but it's saying that there's something missing from that path. I was able to get a path. Do I not have access to the path? Is that the problem? So I'm not able to call get files. So we're kind of back to square one here. Which I've done this on Android before. This is that's the directory we want. Yet when we call get files from it, it throws an exception. I know I've got sample code somewhere for this. So let me scan through some of my projects here. I looked on GitHub a minute ago. I couldn't find it, but let's see. Let's see here. A couple different Maui apps in here. These are not the ones I'm looking for. I really need to find this too because I have a presentation I need to do in Sweden soon that kind of deals with this same problem. Let's try GitHub one more time. Why can it never be signed in when I need it to be signed in? There's nothing worse than knowing you've done something before and can't find it. How good are the search capabilities in GitHub that can I look for that code? No, it's not going to let me do that. It doesn't search that deep. I cannot sign in right now, so thanks for nothing. All right, let's try my website. Searching through your own resources is always fun, isn't it? Don't believe I do it in my ebook, and I don't recall it being in here. Let's try searching for the error that we're getting. Could not find part of path. I don't remember running into this before doing it. So many things could probably cause this error too. So I might have had a different folder when I did this before. That could be the issue. Special folder, my documents, special folder. Let's try application data and see if it throws on that. So we might be trying to access a folder that's restricted or something. There we go. I think that did it. So I guess when I did this before, I had the right one. So you want application data. I wonder if that changed in a recent version or something. I'm pretty sure I did the My Documents folder before and never ran into that problem. But it looks like it's a restricted file path now. So I need to keep more up to date with those type of things. The only way to do that is by doing code that interacts with the devices like we are now. So let's see what we get here. Counter, there we go. So no exceptions this time. Files.config. I guess that is the folder name. So that's what we're mapping to, application data folder. So now there's no files there to read back. So what we need to do is actually write like a text file or something to it, just so we have a sample of what to get back. So what we need to do, we'll copy this code out of Copilot. And I'm just using the Copilot that's in Edge, by the way. And then we need to create a method here We're not going to get too crazy with this. We just want to write a text file out. Let's see. So we want, let's rename this. To app data path. And in that path, we are going to create a file, append it. This is reading from a file. It says this text file is only added once, or this text is only added once to the file. Create a file to write to. There we go. Create text, write all text. That actually creates the file right there. We don't want to open and append it. And we don't need to read it. We're just going to drop it and leave it and hope for the best. And this is giving us a warning. So what we want to do is say if app data, we need some parens there. Stub that out, please. App data path is not null. If it's not null, we'll go ahead and do this. Actually, we can make this a lot faster instead of doing all that. If it is null, return. We're going to run into a problem anyway, so let's do that. And then, of course, this is null. Get rid of all those underscore things. We promise we're going to fulfill this on initialization. Actually, we have null checks in place. We don't actually even want that. We want this. It's better practice that way. All right, let's try rerunning that in the emulator. So we should actually get a file name back this time. Because we're going, oh, no, we're not. No, we're not. I never wrote it. I never called write file. So the first thing we need to do is get the path, write the file, then get the files. And we should see that file in there. So we go to counter, and we have an error. What is the error this time? Let's try refreshing our Chrome DevTools because it seems to be sitting on an old version. Access denied. Yeah, working with file IO, like I know I've done this before. This is so irritating to not be able to find my code where I've actually done this. I feel like I'm beating my head against a wall for no reason. So we can't use the application data folder to write a file to, and what it's mapping to my documents doesn't seem to be working. CD burning, yeah. Maybe I'm using the wrong. Maybe it's not environment with Maui. File system helpers. This is probably what I needed here. This is cache, app data directory. This is what I need. File system current app data directory. I bet this is the right one. So I was using system.io earlier. Cannot be in what? Argument cannot be converted from string to special folder. Oh, this is actually looking for environment get folder path. Has this changed recently? I don't understand. Yeah, so because of virtualization, but I've done this through the whatever the My Documents folder used to go to, and that worked. App data directory, not application data. But Git folder path does not like it's expecting environment special folder. This is returning a string, not a special folder. There is one overload for this. Let's see what's in it. These are all just special folder, Git folder path. It's not under environment either. It's under... Oh, I know what I'm doing wrong. That goes there. Jeez. That goes there. So the path... I was using the wrong method. It's overthinking it. App data directory. I'll go ahead and drop that here. And try that again. No, that is not right. Yeah, the path did start with data. Let's see, what was it? Data, user 0, company name, files. It's basically the path of the app. What did I use before to do this? Because I'd done this before, no problem whatsoever. Now that I'm trying to do it on a live stream, of course it's going to fail miserably. Yeah, see, I used this before successfully. This is why it's irritating me. This is the code I used before. Environment, Git folder path, special folder, My Documents. Files, Git, directory.get files. Is that what I'm using? Directory get files. And created a file doing path.combine documents. I've done this before. You can see it right here. This worked before. Feels Snubbles got it right there. Did they change something with the default Maui template, like that it doesn't maybe include that permission in it? I didn't have to provision any of this stuff before. This code worked before. We'll try one more time as it is there, but I don't think it's gonna work. That's so weird. So before I was able to do, which is pretty much what I started with, right? Environment, Git folder path. And I did My Documents. Special folder, My Documents. It's exactly what I had before. On initialized, I did directory, Get files. Right there. And that used to work. Now it's throwing an exception at me. Saying it can't find part of the path. Yeah. Where'd I miss the comment at? There it is. So watch this. This is actually record. This is why I record this stuff and don't do it live when I'm at a conference, because it works. Look at that. There it is working in Maui without any special prompts or anything. Is it not async in this? Protected override on initialize. That actually might be is it a threading issue? Like, what the heck? Since we're not doing any async, try dropping that out of there. Uninitialized. That one has an exception. Let's see what happens if we use uninitialized. Code by PowerPoint. Really? Boy, I hate when something used to work and now it doesn't for no explained reason. Like that code used to work. I've done it before and it doesn't do anything now. That's fun. So how do you do this now? I should have brought Sam on the show and made him show me how to do it. Can use the file saver class from .NET MAUI Community Toolkit that saves. Is that what we need to do? So we have to use this .NET Community Toolkit thing? But I don't want to prompt. I didn't want to. If your API level is less than 33, add permission to read external storage. When your app targets API 34 and up, no more additional permissions are required. So maybe I need to be using this. I don't know. But this is more of a prompt thing, is it not? This is telling it, this is bringing up like a file save UI. This is on Mac, by the way. Why I have a Mac screenshot there. I got to go through like a whole bunch of things to get that to work. And this one's saying use the app data directory, file system current app data directory. So I'm on API 33. What did that one thing say? Was it 33 and above? You didn't need permissions to do that? Oh. Profile installed. Okay. There's a file in there already anyway, so at least we proved we can read from the app data directory. Well, let's see what happens if we uncomment our write data code. So if it's null, return blah, 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 welcome, environment new line, app data path, create text, file, write all text. Then we need to boop down here, write file. Usually try to start with something simple like reading and writing from disk. 33 and below you needed permission. Oh. All right, so it's gonna be access denied, I bet. So we need to. I didn't mean to close that. Bring our canner back up. Yeah, that's fine. Whatever. Now we see here. Explore platforms, Android, manifest. Request permissions. What was the permission we needed to ask for? That wasn't it. I have too many windows open. The app package files are read-only. You may want to use app data directory. Tried that. Bind, capture, clear, manage. They could put a search box on this. Read external storage and write external storage. I think that was it. Let's try that. Now I'm getting a target framework version. API level 34 is higher than target SDK version 29. Please increase the Android SDK target version in the app manifest file. Minimum target is... So I guess I'm going to have to append that. Did it not save before it did it? Counter that. Oh, my Pixel has API 33 on it. Gotcha. Oh, the fun of mobile app development. This totally worked like 6 months ago, right? 6 months ago, I think I did this. And no problem. Now it's telling me I'm not able to access this file. API 33. Let's see what happens if I do run it on the Quest. Let's see if we get the same error. The Quest is running API 32. Is that folder the issue, or is it the required permissions that caused it to tell me that? So we're going to be targeting API 32, version 32. It's great content, all right. So we've got our app here, and let's see if we get the same. I imagine it is the same error. I think that, yeah, the emulator and the Quest, I think, are going to be pretty close to mirroring each other. All right, I'm going to give up on this for a moment before devices start getting thrown. It's interesting, though, to see that you used to just be able to hit system IO here and just use some familiar things, and you could write files and read files, and now you can't. So whatever the changes were, I would like to know how that happened, because that's a pretty breaking change to have happened. And we'll save that, and we could at least read stuff from disk, which isn't that helpful if you can't write stuff to disk. Let's blank this out. This is annoying me. I'm just going to delete it. And let's dabble a little bit with let's see what happens when we type in capture camera feed. Let's try this. Media picker for photos and videos. Camera permission is required and must be configured in the project. In addition, if your app targets Android 12 or a lower, which we're not doing. Let's try turning at least something on here in this Android manifest. Minimum Android version is going to be level 32, which is what my Quest 3 is. Target level will also make that 32. And let's see. Let's close that window out. Media picker. If your app targets Android 13 or higher, it needs access to media files or other apps that other apps have created. You must request one or more of the following granular media permissions instead of the read external file storage. Read media images, read media video, read media audio. So we'll go back in here and they can't make this window a little bigger or something. Read media video, read media images. And what's the other one? Audio? Yeah, audio, video, images. We've got those three marked. These permissions can be added in the following ways. Okay. Open the platform's main CS file, add the following attributes, or in the Android manifest. I'm assuming that the thing I just did in the manifest XML does what I wanted it to do. This is providing a UI on top of it. So I'm pretty sure it's adding that. So this, see, these are already in there by default, I think. And that's why I was able to read and write files before. It didn't have the other read and write permissions in there for the file system. So I don't know, maybe that's what they removed that broke the other thing. Who knows? That used to work though. All right. If you're, there's a lot of ifs in here, folks. God, I love mobile development. If your project's target Android version is set to API 30 or higher, you must update your manifest with queries that use Android's package visibility requirements. Queries intent media capture. So I assume I need this as well. Is that surfaced in here too? I don't see that being shown. Intent image capture. Yeah, I don't see image capture in here. So we got to go manually. Open with again. Okay. Target framework Android API level 34 is higher than the target version SDK. Please increase the Android target SDK version. And where does, I don't know where it's getting that from. I've got both set at 32, so supported version. I got target and minimum. What does it want? I don't understand what the thing is even asking for. App Android Manifest uses SDK version 32 does not match the supported OS platform version 24 in the project file. There is no supported OS platform version value in the project file, yet it doesn't tell me where that's fixed at. Supported platform version condition get target platform target framework. There we go. Android 24. This needs to be 32. And there we go. Is that what it wants? Me and Sam are going to have a long talk. I think my XML might be invalid now. If it is, it is. I don't know. Looks like the build passed. Build succeeded. Now can I try to touch the API without it blowing up on me? Okay. So the image media picker interface has file result. Pick photo async opens the media browser to select a photo. Capture photo async opens the camera to take a photo. That's kind of what I want. And there's no samples. Why take a photo? There we go. There's the sample. It's not in there, but let's try that. Take a photo. Media picker default is capture supported. File result photo. If photo is null. Oh, so file system cache surgery. File system. It's going to read it and copy it. Let's see what happens if we do a button. Take photo. Because all I want to do is take a photo with my headset. Let's see if it'll let me do that. I'm going to go all in and just push it right to the Quest. Because my patience are running thin, and if it's going to blow up, it might as well do it there. I'm interested to see what this file picker does on the Quest. There is a media like interface on the Quest, and I'm thinking it's going to bring that up. So taking a photo with the Quest could actually be an interesting thing that's useful. Reading, writing file system, while it would have been at least a win to have that to work, doesn't do a whole lot for us. But you can imagine taking a photo with Quest, even in a 2D application setting. You could put the headset on, you could open your app, and you could hit a button. That's a good question, Thindle. I'm not sure. So there's some known issues with using it on the plane. The vacuum. Oh, the vacuum thing. Yeah. Um, the vacuum is really interesting. So the vacuum was somebody had, I don't know if it was the Vision Pro or the Quest or whatever, but as you vacuumed, it was like taking and drawing the spaces that you or erasing from the spaces that you've already vacuumed, which would be super helpful like in teaching kids how to use properly clean anything for that matter. All right, the app loaded. That's a plus. Um, come on, detect controller. There we go. Counter. Take a photo. Did nothing. Take a photo, please. No. It's not even an error. It just isn't doing anything. That button doesn't seem to be clicking. I don't know. Why is it selecting text on it? I gotta put this on and see what it's doing. There might be an audio cue or something that I'm missing. Let's see. I'm turning up the volume so at least I can hear it. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it on stream. I'm gonna try to bring. I know it's like the Hall of Mirror effect there, so let's not do this Hall of Mirrors. Actually, I think I have to unless I look this way, it'll stop mirroring. Bring the tablet over here. It is clicking the button. It is clicking the button. I'm not getting a media picker. That is really unfortunate. Something tells me we are going to be severely limited as to what we can do with this device. That is not good. Oh, look, dirty coffee cup that I used this morning. Um, yeah. So if default is capture supported, I bet that is coming back false. So let's take a look. What we would want to do here is probably say disabled equals that. And if my button comes up disabled, then this isn't going to work. Oh, did I do it backwards? I had my logic reversed. Thank you, Thindle. Let's redeploy that. If this isn't supported, then our 2D apps, our flat apps in the quests are not going to have a whole lot of interaction with the device itself. So that's disappointing. There is more than one way to go about this. We're trying the Maui way first, which I'm starting to regret. And why? Oh, did I move the app? The app was moved. That's what happened. So the app's over here now. We'll do that and hit counter. And it is disabled. So, was it an Oculus thing? Let's go to the emulator and let the emulator tell us the full story. Experiments gone wrong on the next Blazor Power Hour. While that loads up, Blazor Camera Streamer. Oh, a Blazor component library that adds an easy-to-use camera streaming functionality. Let's see what that does. Because we have the web available. Where's the source repo? And streams an HTML element. How do I use it? Add the package, add the script. Depending on your project type. Yeah, get that. Add Blazor server. We don't use Blazor server. How to use camera streamer. Auto start. We'll try that next and see what it does. We are going to throw everything we can at this. All right, component, take a photo. All right, so did the app just crash? Brilliant. All right. Oculus.com, native, Android. Uses a package called over MRC lib. So, yeah, I haven't heard of that either. So you have to use a native Android plugin or native Android library to do. It will always be, I believe, what you see, not what the device sees. From what I understand, none of the Android or none of the VR devices give you access to the camera data other than what you see in real time, because there's speculation on it. One is the value of the data that is generated from those devices. If the owner of the platform is the only one that has access to that data, which is very valuable, then it makes it even more valuable. So, for example, if you gave developers access to it, they could create a database of that data and sell it to third parties, or even if they're not selling it to third parties, they could do some pretty significant things with them. But with the XR rendered things too, I believe so. Yeah, anything that's rendered in that view should show. The other thing is people are saying that the sensors that are on here, especially when you get into things like LiDAR, have the ability to see through objects. So I'm not a LiDAR expert at all, but I've seen some interesting shows where they've used it. And it is such a high resolution scan that it will scan through things that have porous surfaces, like clothing, for example. So you get into this area where maybe not now. So security good security isn't always based on the technology of today, but the technology that could come in the near future. And if you're able to see through clothing, then somebody could maliciously make an app that you install on your Quest and you're walking around looking through people's clothes. I wouldn't put it past people to do something like that. It's not going to be like photorealistic quality, but you're going to get like a 3D mesh of somebody's body that they don't want you to have. It does seem horrible. Yes, this is very horrible. So, nobody wants to be the first platform that has this app get pushed that allows this to happen. So, from what I get, that is one major reason why you're not going to get the raw camera feeds off of the device. You are going to get the sanitized feed out of the device. Start padding your clothes with aluminum foil. I'll just beat them to the punch and just not wear any clothes. There you go. That's the last I'll say about this on a family show. All right. Let's see what we can do here. I'm going to go into dependencies here. I'm going to say manage NuGet packages. Let's see what the web is able to do since Maui is failing miserably for me. Not so much Maui, but I'm not trying to badmouth Maui. It's not a Maui issue. It is a mobile device issue. This is a mobile platform issue. This is why I never could get into mobile. There's always these little nuanced things all over that make mobile a nightmare for me. I don't know how mobile developers have done it for all these years, kept track of all of the little nuance rules and stuff that you have to keep in mind when you're doing this. I'm going to try this camera streamer and see what it does. Accept that. Let's go over to Solution Explorer. So this is going to use the web API. Let's go back to counter and drop this out of there. It's a shame the media picker doesn't seem to be working for the Quest. There is a media picker built in. I know there is, but it doesn't seem like the apps have access to it. Or on, like you showed on Quest Thindle, there's a special library we have to use. So it's a very, not only a platform specific thing, because it's the Android platform, but it's a, I guess a sub platform or device specific thing. So that's where you really start running into headaches. So reference the script in your project. We'll do that on the index HTML page on www.root. Boom, there's the script. Depending on your project type, you will have, really doesn't matter if you add the tag in the head or body of the block. If you're on share, look in the examples. Server side restrictions, we're not on server. A lot of ways to use it. All features should be well documented in the code. Boom, we'll grab that one and we will plunk that down in here. So we've got our camera streamer component. I'm sure we need a using statement. I don't want to remove it. Why is IntelliSense first go-to move is to remove it? Using camera streamer. There's our component. Somebody's basically wrote an interop that wraps the JavaScript API. We'll go into our code block. We'll drop the code in. They're not handling nulls. Bitmap. Type or namespace could not be found. Period. Using Maui application model? I don't know if that's the right. It didn't put it in anyway. Why am I getting undersquiggles here? Convert the base 64 string to a system.drawing.bitmap. Let's use the full namespace then. Why do I not have system.drawing? Oh, they moved it. System.drawing.common.bitmap. No, that is not it. Why did it say it was moved there if it's not there? The type name bitmap could not be found in drawing. The type has been forwarded to system drawing common. There is no system drawing common. Seriously. But this is a Mao or a Blazor hybrid or a Blazor. Oh, you have to install the package. So it is system.drawing.bitmap, but I mean, I'm glad it's documented, but I feel like that was documented in the wrong place. It should tell you to install this as well. Does this only work on Windows then? I mean, it's a web thing. It's a Blazor, so since .NET 7, non-Windows platforms are not supported. So, what good is this NuGet package then? I need to... A Blazor component library that adds streaming functionality you can use with C#. Library only works with video devices. There are no support for audio devices. It doesn't say it's Windows only. Since .NET 7, non-Windows platforms are not supported, even with the runtime configuration switch. So, since .NET 7. Jeez. So in .NET 8, rather. Why didn't they just say .NET 8 and up? This doesn't work with... Yeah, we lost things, all right. About to lose my mind. Let's just see what happens. We'll do it live. It's just weird this was written for Blazor, which is not a platform thing, and now it's saying like you can only use it up to version 7 and it's not going to work in 8 anymore. I don't think the author is, you know. All right. While that loads, access camera with JavaScript. I've done this before. I've actually built a video feed. Oh, jeez. Let's see. Navigator, get user media. All right, let's see what happened with this. So there we go. That's beautiful. So we just get a play button that doesn't do anything. So that's broken too. Create video element. User facing mode. Is there one in like CodePen? Is it? Oh, geez, going into phone gap. Why do I never save my code for stuff like this? All right. Can we try this then? Let's do something as simple as possible with it. Stop this from running. Take Blazor out of the equation for a minute. We'll just drop straight into index.html. Actually, let's rename this one Blazor index.html. And then we'll add a new item called index.html. Add that. Copy paste. Bring this to the Windows desktop. Run it. Let's see what we get. Let's see what we get, folks. Can we just access a camera on the Windows desktop? Open webcam. Allow. That code works. We wrote, well, we didn't write it. We got code that we pasted and it works. Hallelujah. All right. Let's try seeing what happens on the Quest now. All we're doing is pushing a web browser. Let's see what happens when it asks for camera permissions on the Quest. Ah, the good old web. This one is using, this is open webcam, get element by ID, video ID, devices, add event listener, devices. I thought this came back as an array when I did this before, because you can have multiple video devices on a computer, obviously, because of USB. Navigate media devices. Get user media. There's got to be a chooser somewhere that lets me pick which camera it is. And I don't know where that's happening at anymore. Say nothing works. It just works poorly. It's like you can get the camera. It's not the best API for getting the camera, but it got the camera. All right, let's see. Is it? It's running the app. I'm trying to click on it with a mouse. That's obviously not going to work. Open camera. Device not found. There's no camera device available. Strike three. Strike three. All right. So what we're going to end up doing with this is we're going to go to, we're going to quit for the day soon. It is under, let's try from here. There's a little developer portal here, code samples. This is Unity stuff, Unreal Engine, MetaQuest News, Dev Dashboard, developer.oculus.com, resources. We're going to set this to the web platform. I gotta log in just to read the docs? Come on. Why am I logged out of everything? Good Lord, why did I get logged out of everything today? If it does 2FA, I'm done for today. Okay, there we go. Set as default. All right. It is a Chromium-based browser. We know that. Optimized for WebXR and WebGL. I wonder if... So this is all WebXR. Let's see. Progressive web apps. It's not under there either. So technically, this isn't a progressive web app. It's still in Blazor Hybrid's web view. So it could actually be an issue with the web view component. I know there's a lot of limitations around the web view in the Quest. So that could be part of the issue. Let's try... Where did I find that demo? This would have probably been a faster... Oh, it didn't have... Media Navigator devices. Is there a live online version of this somewhere? Please don't make me re-log in. Or not log in, but rebuild this with just .NET. Let's try CodePen. I want to test the actual browser. New pen. So I'm going to plop the HTML in there. Why am I getting an error? Just the HTML that goes and the body goes in here. Well, good for you. It just wants the body. And then we'll take the JS stuff from there and drop it here. And yank that script tag out. We don't need a body tag. Save that. Okay, can we open a webcam? Allow. There we go. And so this is in CodePen. Save that. And I should be able to just take this and, oops, wrong thing. Device manager. And I'm going to go into the open URL and open this in the Quest browser. Right. So we have CodePen. We are just going with only web stuff here. All right, now I will try to look away from the screen to get rid of the hollow mirror effect. And let's see what we get. All right, bring this close. And I saw the open webcam button down here. Um, no, no device found. No device found. So that test just confirmed that it is not a web view thing, but the browser on the Quest does not allow video capture. It will not give you, I thought it would give you at least one camera off of it. There's, I think, two cameras. I thought it would give you a feed off of one of them. Well, looks like we'll have to do things natively and figure out what the native APIs would be for that. That leaves us really between a rock and a hard place as far as the Quest goes. So we can't access the camera through web. So PWAs, like I'm gonna quick Google this. Permissions for PWAs. Example PWAs by Meta. So Facebook and Instagram have PWAs. Nothing about cameras in here. You can do WebXR and hand tracking and things like that, but then you're out of the Blazor universe. So you can get camera access that way, but that's not really the same thing. There are forums in this too, by the way. I wish they had, I'll have to find it if they do have it. Like a simple list of things that just aren't available on the Quest. So I'll have to do some reading. Um, So the PWAs, you do have to wrap them with the app manifest in their CLI. I'm just trying to figure out what we're going to do with the PWA once we create it because we can't do anything with the camera. Um, File system is limited. So we have to download the CLI. We have to have Java 11 or later. I don't know what comes with .NET these days. I don't know if it's even path to where I can use it. Not a Java. Java. Okay, Java is there. Java. So I have version 11 on there. Um, Android SDK build tools. I'm assuming that is on there. Download the CLI on Windows. And it comes as a zip. Modern like tooling for building 3D applications in the browser comes in the form of a zip file. So we have to take that and extract it to our system somewhere. I feel like I stepped back in time all of a sudden. Why am I downloading a zip file? I want to put this in users, Ed Charbonneau, source, new folder, Quest 3. All right, so this is the PWA tooling. And then on Windows, we'd have to create creating a live website manifest. So the app has to be running on the web. HTTPS domain web manifest. So you have to point it at the live running website's manifest file. Create a local manifest file. There we go. Package, your name, PWA, manifest content file. So you can point it locally and grab it there, then package it up as a PWA. Then you sideload it and you're good to go. But what do we build? What do we build when you can't access the camera? I don't know what's going to happen with a file picker. They have to have a file picker if Instagram works on here. If Instagram works on here, there's got to be a file picker, right? Because isn't that the point of Instagram? It was like posting files. I know you can't see what I'm seeing. Give me 1 second over on the other screen here. I want to make sure I'm not doxing anything here. And more. Settings saved your activity. So Instagram only views in this mode, I guess. Create. Okay. So we're able to do something because There we go. This is the Instagram app. You can see the Instagram app, and it says create new post on it. I do select from device, allow permissions. There's the file picker. I could not get the Maui app to open. So I can get a video file and select it. And I can preview it here, and I can even crop it. Media downloads. What I don't see in here is any sort of camera. The only way you can get camera access in here is to record through the device's UI and then save it to your media folder. Camera. There's the camera app. You have to do your work there, I guess, and save it to a media folder and then prompt the app to open the media folder in the browser with the file picker. So we'll have to try the browser file picker next. Because the native... I don't think we tried the native file picker with Maui, but I don't think it's going to work. I don't think the native file picker is going to work. It doesn't look like anything through Maui is really working. So we'll try again with some other stuff. I don't know where else to go with this today. We'll have to play around with some different ideas next week and see if we can get anything to work. This has been disappointing. I really wanted some of this stuff to just work. And so far, camera is out of the question on the Quest. You can't do anything with the camera feed. That would have been really cool to have the camera feed, because even if it's just to take a photo and like send it to ChatGPT to describe the content in the photo, that would have been great. But we hit a complete roadblock with the photo capabilities, the video capabilities. Evidently we could pull up a file picker with the browser and do that, but that's not a good workflow, having to take a photo separately with the headset and wait. I know natively you can use the library that you posted in chat, and we could probably do it through Maui like that, but I'm not familiar with the camera APIs and Android, and you probably have to write Java to make it work, and that seems counterproductive. Interoping with Java just to make one feature work. But there's still got to be some potential in here that we haven't found yet. There's always the web, like you can always do things over HTTP requests. So we're kind of limited to that space right now. And we'll try some more stuff next week, though. So hang around, and we can always get into the 3D stuff too eventually. But until then, thanks again for joining me today on my Quest journey. It's a fun device to do things with. The APIs will open up. I know they will, but temporarily. It is very closed ecosystem. So we'll try to poke holes in it and get some access somewhere.